back on the Boulevard Thursday, April 10th. As always, here to prove to you there is no such thing as football season. We're presented by the Believe Network tonight. He is TPG. I am Matty Fresh. The UFL is on an absolute bender this week, and I have a feeling it might not be over yet. AJ Smith out in San Antonio. Greg Williams out in DC. Marcus Sims traded to Houston. It's an absolute circus this week. However, one item on the agenda tonight takes precedent over them all. It's come to our attention that a certain UFL player has taken to the airwaves with some comments about one of our own.
People's Gambler. I just said, because I don't know how old he is. I think that's the guy who does I could be wrong. I'm a casual when it comes to the Twitter world. It might be Matty Ice's podcast co-host. Is that who it is? See, that's why I didn't talk trash, because based off his mustache, I thought he was just hitting puberty, and I'm not going to argue with someone under 18. So that's why I didn't acknowledge that comment. I was just like,
Wow. Well, that wasn't very nice, TPG. I think he called you the prepubescent gambler.
Well, Matty Ice, as you can see, I'm feeling a little insecure about my appearance after Jace's slanderous comments about me. So I'm trying out this new look to just cope with the whole situation. I just celebrated my 17th birthday, so I can't quite grow a beard yet. So I grow the stash because the girls at school like it. And, it's just so baffling to me that a professional athlete is making comments to an underage kid like that, especially since my dad's a lawyer. So you better watch out, Chase. And I hope Jaden Price lays a lick on you Friday night to kickstart my weekend.
There you have it. It's a shame, a real shame that these things happen. Also, quick note, I know a lot of you have been reaching out to us, early on this season about, hey, can I contribute to the show? Can I get involved? We get a lot of emails, a lot of messages. We don't currently need anyone. We do appreciate you keeping us in your thoughts. We don't currently need anyone. However, I did hear that Around the UFL was accepting applications for their 14th panelists. Now, just a couple requirements. You got to have a burner account. You must remain anti-Pat McAfee. Now, there's some incentive. If you do get the gig, you receive a coupon code for 10% off Zoom Pro. But hurry. Much like Jay Sternberger, it only works until June. Moving on, our standings heading into week 3. Arlington, DC, St. Louis, all 2-0. Brahma's at the bottom, 0-2. In the USFL, it's the Ponies and the Panthers at 1-1. Boats and Houston at 0-2. Now it's the time we've all been waiting for, TPG. Spring football's premier rivalry is back in the headlines. Your Battlehawks, my Defenders, football is what it's all about on Sunday. Are you ready, my friend?
Oh yeah, Matt, I'm ready. But real quick before we preview this game, last week when I was doing my own little beer snake tutorial, you were slandering St. Louis fans about drinking Bud Select. Is that true?
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, during the game, I noticed that, even some fans in the stadium were drinking it, so they must sell it at the Battle Dome. So this is an idea that I had in the last couple hours. So I thought it was a good idea to stand up for my Battlehawks fellow fans. So I went around to multiple liquor stores in the area, 3 liquor stores to be exact, and I was looking for Bud Select, but I could not find it. So I don't know if it's a St. Louis thing. If any Battlehawks fans that are out here that watch the show that drink Bud Select, if you want to hit me up in the DMs and let me know where I could buy it. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place, but I wanted to defend
It could be that you're under
because
21. You ever think of that? And you can't purchase alcohol?
It could possibly be, but so couldn't find Bud Select. So I got something which is I think just as good, the equivalent. I got myself a nice tall Budweiser here, Matt. And since you think that DC is the drunkest fans in the UFL
per capita,
I want to show you how the real fans in this league drink. So I got my nice little Budweiser here.
Oh, we're
I'm gonna put a nice little
show now.
Yeah, Matt, and you're a complete enabler too in this all.
This let an
underage kid drink on your show. So
why are we coping? You're coping already? I'm here to get you through these comments.
God, I spilled.
You don't have to cope by drinking.
I spilled this thing all over me, but Matt, someday you're gonna have to answer to my parents as to why I'm drinking so much.
Like a typical Battlehawks fan, you know. At least you have something in your hand that's not water. I mean, you'd see all this Bud Select going down. It's ice water. The kid in row 53 that's drinking out of the sippy cup and having a lemonade is probably drunker than half the St. Louis fans on Bud Select.
All right, so I completely just wetted my.
This is going to take you like 20 minutes, so I'm just going to get into the pre.
I just soaked my entire keys, so here we go.
This is unbelievable. The prepubescent gambler will do anything to drink on our show. And listen.
Oh, my God.
You can get as drunk as you want. It is not going to matter on Sunday. You're going to be hungover Monday morning.
That was fucking disgusting. Oh, my gosh.
Well, we got a wager to make. Hey. We got a wager to make here for Sunday.
We do.
TPG's back. The puke gambler now. Here we go again. Got some comments about that already. We got a wager to make, okay?
Yeah, we do.
I got a plan. When DC wins, you're coming on the show Sunday night with a binky in your mouth, like the baby you are, and you're not taking it out till I say so.
All right, well, if St. Louis wins, then you have to do the same, but you have to wear a shirt that says Manny Wilkins is my daddy.
Fine, and you have to wear a shirt that says Jordan Tamu is my daddy.
It's a deal.
Shake.
It's a deal.
Shake. Have fun sucking that binky Sunday night. Oof. We got football to talk about. I'm giving you, first of all, I'm giving you a touchdown here. DC money line at plus 250. So you're getting a full 7 points. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of a plus sign. We'll do it. It's Battlehawks Defenders, everybody. Battlehawks favored by 7. Total at 38.5. Game on ABC Sunday at 3 Eastern. I'm really hoping for Joe Tess on this call. I will not be in attendance. Many Battlehawks scumbags wanted to know that in the DMs today. I will not be in attendance. If I wanted to be around 35,000 scumbags at once, I'd go to a Post Malone concert. Now, there is some bad news here for DC fans. If you haven't heard already, Greg Williams out as defensive coordinator. This stinks. This absolutely stinks. Not going to sugarcoat it. I was so juiced up Wednesday morning, putting together content for the show, you know, thinking about this one. And this was just like a kick in the plums. Just took the wind all out of my sails. Like, why would this happen 2 weeks into the season? When Reggie Barlow, who is now a couple weeks into his tenure at Tennessee State, clearly told the media March 26th, and I quote, Greg is coming after the season. So this is not a good look. I hate it for the players, but what are you going to do? From the other side, you could say, hey, the coaching carousel keeps spinning. And I guess I have to be grateful for Coach Barlow because he could have completely uprooted the entire staff by now and moved every single one of them to Nashville. But Shannon Harris, Fred Keiss, everyone else, as far as I know, is still there. And at this point, if they all leave, the season is canceled. And I'll be depressed. So let's hope they stay. Greg is out. His son Blake is in as D coordinator. How does this affect the game plan for Sunday? Well, I did talk to a source who actually worked with both Greg and Blake in their time with the New Orleans Saints. And he said Greg would always mention Blake is the only person on this planet I trust to call my defense. So maybe DC has that working for them. Big opportunity for Blake here. It's tough, though. He's up against the best tailback in the league, running behind the best offensive line in the league, complemented by a very deep receiving core and a quarterback that, listen, I'll admit, I slept on. And he's looking like an MVP candidate through 2 weeks. However, in 2 games, St. Louis saw 2 very bad run defenses. San Antonio's front 7, not what we thought they were. We should have known that. Arlington ran all over him week 1. DC has to get pressure, and it's tough because Manny does find his way out of trouble. He has 6 yards of carry, and not all of those are scrambles. Some of them are design runs that he gets on in the red zone or in the goal line. So your boy, TPG, Hakeem Butler, who went nuclear on DC last year, not practicing. Sat out last week, has not practiced this week with a hamstring. Even if he does play, I'm still low on this St. Louis pass game. They run the ball 67% of the time. And I did say, yeah, they couldn't afford to be one-dimensional if they were going to beat San Antonio. I was wrong. Who cares? I've been wrong before. I'm going to double down on it anyway. If they plan on a 65 to 70% run rate against DC, they will lose. The Defenders shut down Birmingham's tailbacks. They shut down Memphis tailbacks. Yes, Jacob Saylors is a little better. And yes, DC struggled with mobile quarterbacks. Had 89 yards from Magoon week 1. E.J. Perry running around, scored a touchdown last week. So Wilkins is going to get his rushing yards, probably around 50 or so. But he doesn't throw touchdowns, TPG. 0 touchdown passes in 2 games now. And don't look now, but guess who leads the league in turnover margin? The DC Defenders, +4. So it sounds to me like while St. Louis was busy lighting up all the bad teams in this league, DC actually had some competition. The Battlehawks will be exposed by their cupcake schedule. 2 picks for Manny Wilkins. Jacob Saylors, under 5 yards of carry. They score 18 points max, no higher. TPG. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Matt, I heard your new defensive coordinator is not a doorman, but is he actually a valet driver? Is that correct?
You're barking up the wrong tree. You do not want to mess with the Williams family. I promise you that. You have already entered too many beefs this week. That's not one you want to get in.
Anyways, you want to talk about your paper tiger defense. Let me talk about the best defense in the league. The St. Louis defense has been the best defense so far after 2 weeks, giving up only 15 points on this season. But on the flip side, DC is the best offense that this team has seen so far, and that Tamu is going to be fired up to go back to the Dome and play against his former team. But it could be a long afternoon for Jordan if he doesn't get into rhythm early. Matty Ice, listen to this. 46% completion percentage on the season for Tiamu. Surprisingly enough, that puts him behind Anthony Brown. Oof.
Not real. Not real.
And now he has to go up against the best secondary in the league, who has already combined for 3 interceptions between 2 games. And I will admit, this DC run game got better from week 1 to week 2, but even last week, it was only limited to 3.5 yards per carry. And this is not the 2023 Abram Smith. And in my opinion, I think Deion Jackson is probably the better back. But to be honest, none of this shit matters when you have the Dome field advantage on your side. St. Louis continues to roll and will start the season off 3-0, the best start in franchise history. So Battlehawks fans, be early, be loud, slap your buddy in the face, Hawks by a touchdown, shields down. Caw-caw!
See, you're talking about Jordan's completion percentage. We can already see you're delusional because, of course, it's low right now when DC actually throws the ball as much as they run it. You're sitting there running the goddamn triple option out of Navy, 70% run rate, just pounding it on really bad teams. That's not going to fly against DC.
We throw the ball more than service academies do. Manny's throwing the ball.
God, it's like a bowling ball rolling down a lane at defenseless pins. You played San Antonio and Houston. And listen, you can't tell me sitting there right now and having played football yourself that 0 pass touchdowns in 2 games doesn't concern you. I know it concerns you. I know it does, especially with those bad defenses you played against. You're not running the ball 70% of the time. I mean, what are you going to do on 3rd and 12, TPG, when it's Malik Fisher and Derek Roberson up Manny Wilkins' ass in the backfield? They're going to set up a tent in the backfield. Like
he may have not thrown as many touchdowns, but he still is efficient throwing the football, Matt. And you know what? That little social media post you put out today, it was cute, Get your DC fans all riled up for a game that you think you could win. But come Sunday, this is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and I cannot wait to laugh in your face Sunday night.
I'm glad you're sleeping on DC. I'm really glad you're sleeping on DC. You did not learn your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson back in week 1. Talking about Alex Magoo in Birmingham. You were so ignorant. You laid 7 points with Birmingham, and DC won the game by 7. Just a reminder, you talk about your great offensive line. Guess who's the league low in sacks right now? DC has only given up 2 sacks. You're not getting to Jordan Ta'amu. I don't know if you think you're getting to him and you're going to pressure him and he's going to have a tough time. You're not getting to him. This offensive line is underrated. Abram Smith will run through this defense like shit through a tin horn. And you're going to be sucking that baby, Binky. I cannot wait. You son of a bitch. You got me fired up. I'm ready for Sunday now. I'm ready to run through a wall, shields up, defenders all the way. Take a money line. Plus 250. Book it.
I'm putting on the double hat.
My blood pressure's going up.
Yeah, I know. You're getting red.
Let's get the front. Yeah. Well, I'm DC. I'm district red. I'm district red. All right. Let's get on to Friday night down south. Arlington's first ever trip to Birmingham. Stallions 3.5-point home favorite. Total here at 39.5. Forecast 56 with a breeze. Sort of chilly for down there. But hey, the real Matty Ice, Matt Corral, finally going to get his shot as a full-time starter in this league. We talked since day one of Matt signing with Birmingham, how he deserved it. Tough last year having to play behind the league MVP. This year, Magoo ends up on IR with a separated shoulder. And now this Birmingham Stallions tour for 4 lies in the hands of the former third-round NFL draft pick, Matt Corral. And I have faith in him. I really do. He did get a piece of bad news heading into this week. His best wide receiver, Deon Cain, out for personal reasons. Listen, first it was CJ Marable, now Deon Cain. I don't know what's going on, but you think they would just pretend they're hurt and just say, yeah, I got a turf toe, or like why would you want that personal reasons on that report? I guess they don't care because they beat everybody. But
I think practice is optional in Birmingham. Potentially.
Apparently, they want as many people to get the game checks as possible, right? So they have to rotate.
Yeah, I think we need Jace to come on so we could ask him if practice is optional.
Head case Jace. That's our new nickname for him. Head case Jace. And he's probably going to get a lot of looks, in this game with Kane out. We'll see if he catches any of them. I've been impressed with the Renegade defense. I really have. You talk about night and day from last year. I don't want to go as far as saying they're A+ or even A- defense, but they're probably B+. They've been pretty good, and they did. It's the same as St. Louis, right? They only played Houston and San Antonio, but I think they can hold Birmingham to 20 or maybe a little under 20 in this spot. I don't see the Stallions really being able to run the ball much at all. Arlington actually held Anthony McFarland and John Lovett to a combined 50 yards, and those guys went off on everybody last year. So Houston only had 63 rushing yards as a team on this defense in week 2. It's a tough linebacking core. TPG. You got Clark, Taylor, Donald Payne, Chris Odom off the edge. And I did notice Birmingham's plugging in a new left tackle. 31-year-old vet, Jaron Jones getting the go. That's got to be an advantage for the Renegades pass rush. But you can't doubt Matt Corral and his running ability. 600 yards and 11 touchdowns at Ole Miss his final season. So he can move. He's not Adrian Martinez, but he can move pretty well back there. I really am high on Corral. I think he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the UFL. He just needs to take care of the ball. 2 picks last week. Take care of that, and I would slight lean the Stallions -3.5 here. I think the Renegades D has been good, but maybe takes a little bit of a step back. Some of their bad habits might seep in here and return on the road. Could see a 200-yard passing game from Corral. And listen, in this wide receiving core, we saw it last year. It's just next man up. Right? They have 5 or 6 guys they can go to. So I don't think they'll miss Deon Cain as much as maybe some people are thinking. Total is right about where it should be. I see something like 23-17 Birmingham here.
I mean, obviously it sucks to lose Deon Cain because he got going last week, and yeah, Michigan had zero answer for him running by defenders, just getting open, being a problem for that Michigan defense. But looking at this Arlington offense, right? It's hard for me to say that this unit got worse from week 2, given the fact that they still had over 300 yards of total offense last week. But what really is killing this offense is the penalties, right? They are the second most penalized team next to San Antonio. But when you have Luis Perez running the show, I think this offense is going to be fine. This ground game has been absolutely killing it this year. 4.9 yards per carry, Matty Fresh, between Balaj and Day. Got a family to feed, got a family to feed. A little rap reference for you. I know you're a big rap guy. So, but looking at this Birmingham defense, right? I think Arlington on the ground has the slight advantage. Stallions gave up 120 yards rushing last week against Michigan for 4.6 yards per carry. Not great if a team's rushing for over 4 yards a carry. You know, defense is not where it's supposed to be. And this Arlington offensive line is gonna come after you just like they did last week and in week 1. So with that being said, I was gonna take the Stallions when I was thinking about this game on the couch last weekend, but after these comments that Jace made of me, I just can't back this team. But Matty Ice, imagine talking shit to me when you have 11 motherfuckers coming at you every week. So give me the Renegades in this one. It's personal.
I'm here for it. The prepubescent gambler versus head case Jace at WrestleMania. Let's go. A spring football beef for the ages. Stay tuned. Can't wait to see.
I think we just have to have him on. We have to have him on now, I think. We got to settle the beef live.
Well, I just hope it doesn't go down in person because he's got some size on you.
Yeah, he's got a little size, but hey, Jace, our booker will be reaching out to you. So.
Oh, this has gone too far.
Come on the show.
Give me Birmingham. I'm high on them with Matty Ice at the controls. I think this would actually be the USFL's first win over the XFL after starting 0-4. I don't know. I'm still sort of skeptical of Arlington's run game. Don't let the numbers fool you with Kalen Balaj. Yeah, he leads the league in rushing. Half his yards came on one 77-yard touchdown run. So I don't really care that he leads the league in rushing. Day Hunter's only good for 3 yards a carry. But yeah, this should be one of the better quarterback matchups we see all year long. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see actually Matt Corral like with a second week under his belt. Obviously, like getting thrown into the fire last week, but now like, and it's unexpected when you get that call and you're QB2. Like you just got to be ready. But now that he's had the whole week to prepare as the starter, I am excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, finally doesn't have to hear the footsteps. Next up, let's get miserable here for this one. It's Houston at Memphis. I know both are winless, but I don't think you can deem this one the toilet bowl. TPG, I don't know. I know that was big last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can go there yet.
We had some fun with this last year, though.
Yeah,
we did.
I mean, both squads hung around as pretty big underdogs last week. I think they both had a chance to win on the final possession. So I don't think you can call it that yet. Maybe in their second matchup if they're still at the bottom. But Memphis a 4.5 point home favorite here. Total 36.5. Forecast looking good. 63 with no wind. They dealt with a lot of wind their last two games or their first home opener. Excuse me. It seems like an automatic under bet. In fact, I think right before the show it even went to 35.5 at some shops. I usually stay away from unders when you have like a stink off like this with two winless teams because it just gives me those vibes like anything could happen, like Vegas and Orlando back in 2023 when they were both winless and went off for like 67 points. It was a shootout. It's just a weird spot. Like weird things can happen. Also you have Jonathan Adams, who I'm not really looking to take unders when he's on the field. All right. He could drop 150 and 2 scores on your head, it seems, against anybody. I mean, he leads the league in receptions, leads the league in yards, second in targets. It's obvious that he's benefiting from not having Dawood Davis ahead of him. Isn't it wild to think that like they didn't use him last year? Like he did all right, but like he took a back seat to Davis and he just broke out the last 2 weeks. Like they should have got him more targets. I don't know if that was a Cookus thing last year or a John DeFilippo thing. Who the hell knows?
I think it was more of a DeFilippo thing.
Yeah. He was not used as much as he should have been. Like, he is a dog. And they got E.J. Perry in rhythm. They finally let him play the full game. Believe it or not, this is the number 1 passing offense in the UFL. Who saw that coming? Nobody. Statistically right now, they're great. And they went up against 2 really good defenses. So the boat's headed in the right direction. Got to clean up the penalties. 11 penalties in week 2. And I'm also not really impressed by their run game. I mean, Perry does kind of add a dual threat to the mix. Had a running touchdown against DC last week. Look at his touchdown prop on ESPN Bet, by the way, sitting at plus 575. for a rushing TD. I think there's some value there. He is nursing a shot to the ribs. Told us in the presser after week 2 he'll be fine. He's a tough kid out of the New England area. I think he's a mass hole. So he's a tough kid. But Memphis is -5 in turnover ratio. That's killing them. You take away the penalties and turnovers on this team, and this could be a real hell of a spot to back Memphis. I'm probably a little higher on the Houston pass defense than most. I think they handled Perez pretty well, given there was a lot of wind, but they could be missing a starter or two here, it seems, from the injury report. So I don't think this number is high enough. I could see Memphis like 5.5 or 6 if I was making this number. I got it at 3. I think 4.5 is probably right where you want to be. And I really love the spot for Memphis, DPJ.
Yeah, I think it's hard for bookmakers, especially like if they're not as locked in as we are to, make Memphis a touchdown favorite. I feel like 3.5 is, or what's it at? 3 still?
It's at 4.5 or 4.5 right now.
4.5. Sorry. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to stay under the touchdown just because, similar record teams, and yeah, similar records last year. But let's get into this Houston offense. And we saw this passing attack get going late last week, but the run game has still been abysmal. But this offense was at its best when it went high tempo, and they will need to utilize that this week if they want to see any success. Jaron Horton is too good of a defensive coordinator to substitute your players into the huddle because it only allows him to identify what personnel you're putting out on the field and combat what you're trying to do offensively. So I think Houston has to move quickly and keep Memphis on their toes. But obviously, I think the edge goes to Memphis in this one. Their physicality and the way they swarm to the ball is much improved from a season ago. And you could see that this unit has really bought into this defensive hard-nosed culture that Jared Horton has instilled. Steel Chambers has been an absolute dog in the system.
What a
leading
name.
the league with
Steel
I know.
Chambers.
All
get
UFL, yes, all UFL team name. And he's been an absolute dog, leading the league with 21 tackles. So Showboats heading back to the Half Bowl on Saturday, and for the second week in the row, give me the boats in my World of T-shirts era. I wish I had a captain hat.
You know I'm going the boats, right? I already alluded to this.
Hell
Awesome
yeah.
value here. I think
Let's go.
If you're a numbers guy and you really trust the math, take the under. It's probably safe. I just have a sense it could get weird and Memphis could drop like 25 here on Houston's head with Jay Adams. Like I said, he literally has double the targets and like triple the catches of anybody on Houston. So
I know, Matt, you're big on this under, but I said on
sort of. Yeah.
Well, I know, but you kind of like it. I said on the Sunday show that all the overs hit in week 3 of last year. So I went back, checked myself, and I was correct. So Matt, I think actually this week might be the week of the offenses. This is the week the offense start clicking, and I could see maybe the overs coming in every single game this week.
You really think you're like the stats and information department. Back in week 1, you told me that Luis Perez was 0-5 as a day 1 starter.
Hey, I was reaching for a stat.
Listen, it's a new team. It don't matter anymore. It's not 2024 anymore.
That's
These
true.
are different teams, but yeah, Steel Chambers is a dog. I love me some Steel Chambers. I think he was a Buckeye though, so that kind of pisses me off, but otherwise, he's a good dude.
They got a lot of good defensive guys with good names. Steel Chambers, Boogie Roberts, Nasir Player. Like they just got on paper. I mean, they're a great defense, but on paper they're intimidating as hell too.
Yeah. All right, lots of headlines out of this next one. Brahmas at Michigan. Happy Palm Sunday, Brahmas fans, because if it wasn't enough that you're 0-2 and playing on the road yet again, your local ABC affiliate in town plans on airing church service during the first hour of your game. So, TPG, let's take a moment to bow our heads and pray for the under. No. Under. Sell the wife, sell the kids, sell the swing set. Put it all on my total of the century. Shout out Rocco.
You know I've been fuego on my totals.
Yeah. Listen, I'll sit here and I'll give you every reason too that this is a 15-9 game. I don't even care who has 15 and who has 9. It's gonna be a rock fight. First, AJ Smith, Brahma's OC, gone, resigned, not fired, as some thought, He did this himself, according to Wade Phillips. And it's sort of one of those where we talked about the Brahmas being broken last week, and you kind of saw this coming, but your jaw still dropped when it actually happened. And it's like, it's really a shame because I wish he could have found his way out of this slump, not only because I have Brahmas over 5.5 wins as a future. I think I took a playoff future as well. Just completely faded St. Louis preseason. But yeah, I'm struggling with AJ Smith not being in spring football anymore. He was trending up long term. You think about 2023, they lose in the semifinals when this staff was with the Roughnecks. Then they bounce back, get all the way to the championship in 2024. I mean, clearly, Kellen Mond is not Chase Garbers, and he can't adapt to this system the way Chase learned it on the fly so early. So my thing is, if the Brahmas were dead set on sticking with Kellen Mond as like their franchise quarterback, maybe if you're AJ Smith, you feel like, hey, I got no choice here. I'm going to end up taking the fall if we go 3-7. And as a young coach, that's kind of a black eye on your resume. Like, you don't want that 3-7 stinker season when you've got all this momentum. So he cuts his losses and dips out of there. Now, there could be something else completely. That is purely speculation, but it kind of feels that way to me. Brandon Silvers made a comment about AJ not making personnel decisions, and obviously Brandon played for him for years, so I don't know how much we could trust what he says, but Kellen Mond chirped him back and said, like, nobody changed the system, so there was a little back and forth there. TPG, your thoughts on AJ out in San Antonio?
Well, I guess Wade told AJ Smith to get the fuck out of here with your get the fuck open
GT
offense.
field options.
This is not backyard football, grandson.
He didn't though. I think he misses him. He went on his show and he was like, "This was not my decision. I didn't see this coming." So I don't think that was the case.
So do you think he's like taking a college job then, or like what? Like
no,
what,
I kind of said what
why
I
would
think.
he resign?
I think that some of what was said by Brandon Silvers is true, that Wade Phillips and Mark Lillibridge probably make a ton of the personnel decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think AJ, more than likely, probably was like, hey, let's get somebody else some reps. I don't know about this guy. I think San Antonio had some weird movement. They brought a quarterback in, and then they dropped them. And, like, there were some weird things going on. Maybe AJ trying to get a guy in there to maybe save the season. But I don't think he's on the same page as Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
I think it took Chase Garber succeeding last year for AJ to be like, all right, he can run this offense, right? Like, we're a full go. I mean, most of the pieces are back. You don't have Cody Latimer anymore. Funny enough, he's coming in to coach receivers. But
well, I do want to ask you something, because I did see this speculation on Twitter. Do you think, say CJ Johnson, things fizzle out for him this offseason, do you think that Houston would look to maybe hire AJ Smith as a head coach next season?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Nope. And I'm not sure the UFL would let him, because I don't think the UFL is very happy with AJ Smith, to put it lightly.
Okay.
Right now. Is this the end of him in spring football? I can't go that far, but like, he knew making this decision that
was going to burn some bridges.
It was right. Yeah. Like, on the surface, it looks like you gave up on an 0-2 team. Now, there's probably so much more that goes into this. AJ's a great guy, by the way. Like, one of the nicest dudes. Used to come up to me all the time when I was on the sideline in warm-ups and talk to me. Like, he's a great guy. Loves football, loves scoring points, and it's almost like I want him to be DC's head coach in 2026. But again, the odds are stacked against you, because you got some USFL leadership in there who might not know you as well. I know Russ Brandon was a carryover, but how many decisions is he really making? A lot of the people in charge are USFL side, and they might not feel too highly about AJ after making this move. Didn't seem like Wade Phillips was prepared, so we'll leave it at that. Peyton Party, wide receiver coach, AJ's right-hand man, calling the plays on Sunday. And what do we know about rookie play callers, TPG? Under. Automatic under. Yeah, right. Like, just so hard for a quarterback and a team to get comfortable when you have another voice in there. We saw this with TJ Vernieri Week 1 with Memphis, that under came through for us. Seemed like a bit of a scramble, to get things in, and it was just tough. So very little preparation for Pardee. And that's my first reason you take the under here. My second reason, Michigan just traded away their best receiver. Marcus Sims off to the Roughnecks for Houston's right tackle, Cam Carter. TPG, is this the Carolina Panthers or the Michigan Panthers? What in the hell is Steve Kaiser's plan here?
Yeah, this one was a little baffling to me just because, Sims he was a breakout player last year and he was having a really good season through 2 weeks. So I don't exactly know what the decision is. I know he went to Twitter after he was traded and said something about, politics in the locker room and that he was playing through a lot of injury.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that, Michigan wanted to ship him off because, those injuries were starting to, pile up. And they said, like, hey, if we get rid of him now, we could get, a better value player back. I do think it was the wrong move, though, because, knowing all that he was playing hurt this whole time and he had the production that he had, like, this dude was a dog. And you know what? I wish him the best of luck in Houston, that you're stepping in a not an easy situation. Imagine like going from a team where, you have the chance to go to the playoffs and possibly go to the championship game. Now you're, I don't want to say it, but like you're in the basement of the league. So it really sucks. And I hope, he could just make the most out of his situation and, better this Roughnecks team. But yeah, I feel for the guy. I really do.
Yeah, played with a torn out back all of last year. And if those of you who didn't know, when you watch him, pull up his highlights from 2024. He's wearing a back plate. He looks like bulky. And that's because he's got a whole ass back plate in because he's playing with a torn back the entire season and still put up all UFL. So I promise you, I'm not overreacting just because, it's a skill position player getting traded for a lineman. Like, those trades can sometimes make sense, right? Like, we're probably a little biased because you look at stats and you're like, you can't quantify how valuable O-line is, but like it is important in this league.
Definitely.
So, but not here, not now. And just Mike Nolan, man, like he seemed to hint in his presser that, right, you said the reason behind it was the injury history and that they needed to beef up pass protection. Listen, with Mike Nolan at this point, I'm sorry. Can we take away his Coach of the Year award from last year? Like, can we take that back? Because I don't think he deserved it anyway. This guy's really kind of pissing me off lately. You're back and forth with Perkins and Etling. You're bullshitting everybody in the pressers about nobody has stepped up and said, I'm the guy. Yet every single one of your offensive points has been scored by one guy, Bryce Perkins at quarterback. So what do you mean nobody stepped up and said, I'm the guy? And then he went on to say, yeah, I think Perkins has kind of put his foot forward as a starter. Like, I don't know what Mike Nolan's on right now, but you sign off on a trade. I don't put it all on him because obviously Kaiser had a lot to do with this, probably facilitated it. But you sign off on a trade that sends your literal human highlight reel, all UFL, for a right tackle from Houston, who is clearly the worst offensive line in the league. Why? Why Houston? Why not go get like Steven Gonzalez? Obviously, St. Louis isn't going to trade him, but like get like a star lineman. And they just settled here. So they seem like they're desperate. There's two reasons why you're on the under, right? AJ Smith gone, no play caller in San Antonio. Marcus Sims gone in Michigan. And there's even more, folks. There's even more. The Panthers have 0 healthy running backs. McCrary and Colburn both went out injured in the second half last week. McCrary actually had to come back in and play hurt with a torn ankle because they didn't have a third running back active in the game. And it screwed up their whole personnel. Colburn not practicing this week, probably not going to play. Nate McCrary limited only because he has to be. The only other running back on this team is Jalen Sheridan out of Monmouth. So we'll see how that goes. If you watch that play, by the way, with McCrary, there's no way he's 100%. Did you see that? I know. There's no way. So
it's not looking good.
No, so there you have it. Two middling offenses that kind of both lack creativity the first 2 weeks of the season as it was, and then you pile on all that into the mix. I love the under, and I kind of lean the Brahmas plus 5.5, TPG.
Well, you're hoping that this could be a Superman game out of Bryce Perkins, but aside from this Panthers offense, let's take a look at the San Antonio offense. And, maybe getting a new offensive play caller will result in some more points for this team because, honestly, Matt, it really can't get any worse. But, however, Kellen Mond has been giving me major Brent Huntley vibes from XFL 2023. So this is not a recommendation. This is a must for Peyton Party heading into this week. You have to get Anthony McFarland more involved. And I think if this San Antonio offense is able to get this ground game going, I think Mon will start to see some more success as a passer. This team has the pieces to be good. They played for a UFL championship a year ago, but they just need to be more disciplined and stop committing these stupid penalties. But on the flip side, Michigan has, one of the best run defenses in the league. They lose Breland Speaks to IR.
That's a killer, by the way.
I know, an absolute killer.
That sucks.
He was Defensive Player of the Year last year, right?
Yeah, bad week for Michigan now that I think of it. Damn.
Horrible. So you lose that guy to IR, but, I'm not going to put as much stock into that as other people are. Yeah, it sucks to lose your all UFL guy, but I still believe that Michigan has one of the better defenses in this league. No doubt. And they have the opportunity to this week to get back in the win column against a struggling San Antonio squad. And, this unit still has 4 picks through 2 games. So they're doing a really good job of taking the ball away. So, and it could get ugly for Mon quick if this ground game can't get going. So, like you said, with all the factors surrounding the Brahmas, new play caller, all that, they're on auto fade to me until further notice, until they could show any sign of life on either side of the ball. So, horns down, let's hunt, give me the Panthers.
Yeah, I go back and forth on this pick. Really what it comes down to for me is I don't see the Brahmas moving the ball here. I think Mon probably tosses a pick or two. You mentioned the stellar defensive backs in Michigan, right? You got Nakua, Tarpley, and now DJ Miller emerging as a star. So, I think it's a great secondary. Yeah, maybe the Brahmas get the run going with McFarland and Lovett, but I don't know. I'll take Michigan here. You gotta limit the mistakes for Mond. If you're San Antonio and Peyton Party, too many sacks, too many picks.
Hey Matt, I think my mom's calling me. I gotta go. I gotta run upstairs real quick. Mom, I'm coming.
Forgot to clean his room. Why does this guy always find a way? Always finds a way. All right. Yet again, we go right to best bets without TPG. Can't have him losing us money. My totals are on fuego. 6-1. Just can't get enough Loco Rocco here tonight. I'm on the boats -3. Yeah, I locked that in Tuesday. It's now 4.5. Don't let that scare you away from Memphis. High confidence investment here. I know the stock market's been up and down for you guys. Forget about stocks. Forget about bonds. Forget about your 401k. Just bet Memphis. -4.5. I got the 3. Little bit of line value. What else we got? We just talked about the under. Michigan San Antonio got it at 36.5. And do I even gotta say it? Oh, I can't believe it. They did it again. These morons gave me DC +7 for 2 times in 3 weeks. It's ignorant. It's lazy odds making, and I absolutely love it. Give me more DC as an underdog. Keep it up. Back up the Brinks truck. We're giving TPG a raise once this comes through.
Matt, did you start? Please tell me you didn't do best bets again without me. And
also,
wait. What did you take? What did you take?
Listen, if you're on YouTube,
did you take the Defenders? Did you take the Defenders? You got to be kidding me.
If you're on YouTube,
it's a loser.
You clean your room pretty fast.
I didn't have to clean my room. It was.
If you're on YouTube or podcast, you're missing out on our player props this year. They're too hard to give out on the show because I average like 20 to 25 plays a week. Kind of go prop crazy, but it works. I tweet out my 4 top props from each game before kick, and that has been a gold mine for us. So check that out on X at MattyFreshTV. For TPPG, a.k.a. the prepubescent gambler.
You got to let me plug. Shameless plug before we get out.
Hurry.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SpringballBLVD. Follow, like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. Love you guys.
All right. Try that again. For TPPG, a.k.a. the prepubescent gambler, I'm Matty Ice. And always remember, there is no such thing as football season. Somebody's going to have a binky in their mouth next time you see us. We'll be back Sunday night. Shields up.
Caw-caw.